Joining me now is Karl Susman, an insurance broker who has now also been evacuated due to these wildfires. First of all, Karl, before we talk about insurance, how are you? How are your family? How's everyone doing?
That's the best and most important question. It's all the family and everybody is okay and we've evacuated and we're together. Everything else will find a way to work itself out. Thank you.
Absolutely. So we do know that a majority of California's top insurers, 7 out of 12, cut coverage in the state. That's over about the past 4 years. Karl, what does that mean in reality?
Well, in the Palisades, it's always been a little bit challenging to obtain property insurance because of the potential for fire risk. State Farm, as you probably remember, about a year ago, non-renewed. It came out to about 1,626 homeowners policies in the Palisades. It was the second largest area to be non-renewed from State Farm. So those people had to find coverage somewhere else. And they either obtained coverage in the private sector, which was very challenging at the time, it still is, or they went with the California Fair Plan to get their fire insurance. So challenging, but not impossible.
All right, so Karl, you're an evacuee, which means you live in this impacted area. Have you been personally impacted by these cuts in coverage that so many people are dealing with?
Yes, everything happens for a reason, right? And I'm there, and so I'm experiencing it. I'm able to pass that information on firsthand to our clients as well. We have had to do things to the home to make sure that it's more protected from wildfire. Things like clearing trees from the roof line, things like clearing brush from around the house, things that are being done to prevent the fire from getting to our individual house. Most insurance companies will give guidelines, will try and give, I say, advice, but that almost sounds like it's an option. They'll give you things you should do if you want to keep your policy to be able to make your home less likely to burn. And that's something that a lot of people have been having to get used to, that concept of having an insurance company come in and say, look, if you want your fire coverage, you have to do X, Y, and Z to make your home less likely to burn if there is a fire.
All right, so in these instances now where there's, obviously the fires are still raging, so many people are impacted. At the top of this, we heard from the state insurance commissioner, but what should these homeowners do? Because with so much devastation, it's really almost certain there's a good chunk of people with no coverage or lapsed coverage, and that could have happened, a few years ago, not necessarily within the past year.
No, that's right. And actually, it's hard to imagine that we're on day 3. And the last time I checked, we're still at 8% containment only for the Palisades fire. Normally, we have a fire and then we start to watch the containment go up and our anxiety starts to go down. But this is unbelievable that we're going this many days and we're still trying to get a handle on just the Palisades fire alone. A lot of that has to do with the winds that we're having. It keeps the airplanes from being able to fly and dump that water. It's just not safe for them. Plus, as you can imagine, the wind just keeps pushing that fire and growing it. The insurance commissioner did what he usually does to protect consumers, as he comes in and he says to all of the insurance carriers in the state, not only are you not allowed to non-renew a policy in the affected area or the surrounding areas, but in the event somebody misses a payment, you have to offer them a reinstatement. Now, this won't happen automatically. So if you're in that area, you need to contact the insurance company or your agent or broker and say, hey, look, I want to be sure the policy is active. If it's lapsed, I want to be able to pay the bill and keep that policy in force. But it's something that's giving everybody a cushion of at least 12 months to be able to have other coverage or to be able to change to different types of policies. Remember, a homeowner's policy will not cover you if you're building from the ground up. You need to get a special policy for that. And as you can probably imagine, a lot of people are going to have to be doing that.
Yeah, there's going to be a lot of people building from the ground up. Karl, President Biden has already pledged 100% coverage of the fire response. What do you think that means in reality?
Well, California's got money, so I suppose they would have paid for it themselves if need be. It's always nice to get money from somewhere else if you can. The firefighters, you can't say thank you to these guys enough, these guys and girls. I mean, they put themselves on the line, literally their life and limb, and we sit and watch the screen and we say, oh, it's still 6% contained, 7%, and they're out there really in the, fighting the fight. So I think that having money come in from the feds is going to be good. It's going to free up money in California for us to do other things to try and assist people. But it's always good to have the resources of the feds coming in when we need them.
My last question for you, Karl, what do you think are the biggest implications as we move forward? Is getting fire insurance in some of these parts of California going to be like trying to get flood insurance in parts of hurricane-prone Florida? I mean, at some point, is it going to be basically impossible or close to impossible?
Well, the insurance commissioner just recently has last month, in the end of the year, had some new regulations that went into law. It was called the Sustainable Insurance Strategy. And that's going to actually force private insurance companies to offer coverage all over the state, including in high fire risk areas. So I don't think we're going to be in a situation where there will not be an availability. But what we are going to see are these models that are coming into play, probably like State Farm was utilizing when they realized that this is an area they need to reduce their exposure in. And we're going to see rates going up in the areas that are at higher risk and rates coming down in areas that are not necessarily as likely to burn in a wildfire.
All right, well, Karl Susman, insurance broker who was also impacted by these fires and evacuee. Karl, thank you so much for your time.
My pleasure. Thank you.